continuing on in the tracking series here. Got a couple, well, one quick video actually. I'm going to try to throw a couple different things in here. It's going to be some more reading, just stuff, you know, to keep in mind, but I'm not going to hammer on it too much and get too detailed, because some of it's self-explanatory and some of it obviously has to deal with military type stuff, so I'm not going to get into any of that, as I said before. But again, classroom type setting. Yeah, I hate doing this portion of it, you know, and just sitting here and, you know, reading these things to you guys, but a lot of it's important, and it's good to get out there and do all the fun, cool horse stuff and, you know, all that, and get on tracks and see what different things look like. But the classroom portion of it is pretty important too, so you can pick up some of the things, you know, that go along with the whole process, and give you a better, you know, well-rounded perspective as far as everything that entails on the tracking. So this next one is roles of the visual tracking team. I mean, there's quite a few different ones, you know, depending on what the situation is. I'm going to try to stick more to like the search and rescue type stuff, and, you know, where things can be applied to tracking animals and things like that, than into like military and law enforcement type of stuff. So we're going to talk about the role and duties of each of the tracking team members. And just firstly, it's usually made up of a 5-man team, and it consists of a team leader or controller. Obviously that's the person controlling that tracking team, and that position would never change. Whoever's dedicated as that leader of the team would stay in that position. I've mentioned in a past video that, you know, switching out spots with the tracker if they're getting eye strain and things like that is good to do. The only one position that you'd never switch out is that team leader. His role and responsibility is for controlling the follow-up, as I said. Make any tactical decisions, you know, be it on the military or law enforcement side. He or she determines the movement, what formation they're going to use, all the navigation needs, communications, security, again, if it's military or law enforcement oriented, and the overall general conduct of the team. The team leader is the only one person that doesn't rotate. I just explained that to you guys, and it's because of information purposes. That team leader is gathering all the information, you know, that the track is picking up, or, you know, the flank guys or other trackers in that team are gathering. That team leader, you know, keeps all that information together. And if you switch out in that position, you're taking a chance on losing some of that information, which could be key to you later. The trackers physically following the spoor and advising the team leader of any tactical situations, again, if it's military or law enforcement, or any variances that he can read from the spoor. Flank trackers, there's a right and a left one. Their primary task is to protect the visual tracking team. Again, that's military and law enforcement related. When you're talking about, you know, search and rescue or even animals, they're just out there, you know, to cover a bigger space, a bigger area, to try to pick up spoor should there have been a direction change or anything like that. So they're just extra trackers, you know, looking for spoor, just like the tracker is. So that was the flanks. And then you'd have a rear security, you know, in military and law enforcement, again, obviously. And obviously it's, you know, covering the 6 is the role of that spot there. And any additional duties that could be tasked out by the team leader, whatever it may be. I mean, they could send that person up, you know, if it's search and rescue an animal type situation or whatever, can send that person up to assist one of the flank trackers or assist the main tracker that's following the actual track line. Marking last known spore. So you're on the track line and you can't find any other spore and you're going to get into your lost spore procedures. You could leave that rear guy at the last known spore and start conducting those. And give him or her a set of binos, you know, to scan out further and see if they can pick anything up. So that, just kind of an extra set of hands, extra set of eyes. The advantages of having a whole team should be pretty common sense stuff, but I'll just read them off to you while we're here. The team self-contained, you know, in the military and law enforcement side, that provide their own security, so, you know, nothing happens to the tracker or the team leader while they're conducting this follow-up. Each team member is cross-trained, so positions can be rotated to prevent fatigue. The team can fast tracker and relocate lost spore more effectively. A lot of you guys out there that are hunters, you know, have ever had to track an animal that, you know, you've tried to harvest or whatever and didn't hit so well. It's good if there's snow on the ground and you got a good blood trail to follow. You know, it's usually pretty easy. But if you've ever been on a, you know, trying to track an animal down and you lose it, it's obviously a lot easier to do that with, you know, 2 people or more. Again, because you can put that person on the last known spore and then you can navigate forward to try to pick up that next sign and keep on the track line until you get to what it is you're looking for, be it a person or an animal. The team has the ability to collect information quicker and to utilize it more effectively. Right? Just more eyes, more brains all working together as a team opposed to, you know, just one tracker out there. A well-trained, cohesive team is extremely versatile and can be used for a variety of other tasks in addition to just tracking. Alright, so that was the roles and duties of each team member. Again, there's usually 5. You got the 2 flankers, you got your actual tracker. The team leader is usually placed right with the tracker, you know, to write down any key information or whatever it is that the track is picking up, and then a rear security. This next one real quick is the different missions of that team. And again, a lot of this is going to, you know, pertain to military type stuff and law enforcement, so I'll try my best to, you know, differentiate them for you guys. I'll give you the mission of the visual tracking team is to aggressively pursue. In this case, it says the enemy. It could be a fugitive if it, you know, if it's law enforcement. But aggressively pursue whatever it is you're going after. You know, it could just be a lost child, and you want to cut down that time-distance gap, you know, and find this missing person or whatever as quick as possible. Same thing, you know, animal related. You're out there hunting, you hit a deer, whatever the case may be. You know, you're excited and you want to cut down that time distance gap and find your harvest as quick as possible. So it's all pretty much the same in that respect. So to pursue, in order to reestablish contact using all the human senses, either to gather information or to close up that gap, as I said. So the roles of a visual tracking team: the first one is to pursue. Through the use of individual and team collective tactics, techniques, and procedures, conduct a follow-up to pursue and make contact with the quarry. To follow, through the use of patrolling techniques, locate and follow the quarry and obtain information as to their activities, habits, routines, contacts, and routes. Again, that'd probably be more on the military and law enforcement side. You know, they could be setting up on maybe a drug raid or something like that, you know, sending out these surveillance teams, and you know, tracking teams are deployed in cases, you know, just like that. Get on tracks, figure out routes and stuff like that to set up for, you know, any future operations or something like that. During the follow-up activities, place pressure on the quarry in order to drive them to friendly forces. Again, that's more military and law enforcement. But, you know, a good tracking team, get on that track line, you know, push aggressively, and try to flush out that fugitive or whatever it is, you know, to block in positions that you may have set up, you know, ahead of time. If you could figure out, you know, a direction of travel and getting into the mind of the quarry again, trying to think about where he's headed, why he's headed that way, and where he could possibly be going. Locate and interpret tracks and sign left by the quarry. To ascertain the direction of movement, again to focus, you know, maybe a blocking position or something like that. To recognize and calculate strengths, again it's more military and law enforcement stuff. Alright, tracking missions can be divided into two categories, proactive and reactive. Under the proactive one, you know, patrols, the same scenario I described on like the drug raid. You know, it's more gathering information. You're out there ahead of time. Like I said before, to get a tracking team out, something probably had to have happened. You know, missing persons, stuff like that. But military and law enforcement, you know, could go the other way as far as, you know, being proactive about it and trying to get ahead of the game. Reactive, maintaining contact, you know, with a fleeing fugitive or whatever. Locating points of origin sites and backtracking, typical reactive missions. It's not always, you know, that you're going to be sent out on a tracking team necessarily to follow an active track. Again, I explained that in a different video, but actually following somebody, you may be sent out to do a backtrack and see, you know, where this person or this group came from and try to gather information there, going backwards to form patterns and stuff like that, to put information together, again, maybe for future operations or something like that. Alright, this next one, visual tracking team formations. Let's see, introduction is 3 critical factors which provide maximum level of protection to a visual tracking team. Alright, that's again military and law enforcement mostly, but it's movement, camouflage, and silence. Factors that affect the choice of the different formations that you would use is the vegetation that's being traversed, terrain and ground conditions, the time-distance gap, prevailing or oncoming weather conditions, and, you know, should there be a tactical situation. Alright, so we'll go over the formations right now. The first one is a Y formation. Pretty self-explanatory. Try to draw this for you guys. So you'd have your flank trackers out here, your main tracker with the team leader right with the tracker, and then, you know, a rear security or additional duty type of person. The next one is the half Y. All you would do is shift one of these flank trackers to one side depending on terrain. So if you had maybe a big cliff or, you know, a big rock face mountain or something on the left, no need for that left flanker to be over there. So you could shift him or her wherever you see fit. You know, as a team leader, you could put him back with the rear guy. You could set him up here and make a stronger right flank. You know, whatever the case may be, you could actually move them and have 2 trackers. I mean, endless there. Alright, single file or ranger file. That's just ducks in a row. So you have all 5 right in line. That's mainly used, you know, if it's real dense vegetation, or the spoor that you're following is so great. I mean, you don't even need to take the time. It's footprints in the sand and you can just follow it. So cut down that time distance gap. You can just get in a ranger file you know, and beat feet and try to cut down that time distance gap. Extended line, it's just the same thing as a Ranger file, it's just the other way. And all that does obviously is spread you out, cover more ground as you're pushing through. See if you guys can even see that on the board here. So that's pretty self-explanatory. And then the last one is a lazy W. All you would do is drop, same idea as the extended line, except you drop every other person back. So that's a lazy W. So those are the different formations that I used. I wouldn't say one's any better than the other. It all depends on the situation and what's going on. You know, missing persons or trying to find, you know, a lost animal that you've tried to harvest or whatever the case may be. Obviously, the more spread out you are, the more ground you're going to cover, you know, and you can walk in a certain direction, so that's probably the best. But again, it's all situation dependent. Let's see. That's about all I got on that. So I just wanted to shoot this quick one for you guys. And I mean, I hate, again, just reading from the book, but some of this stuff's important, some of it, you know, not so much. So I just wanted to blow through a couple of those and continue on with the tracking series. So